Berurah, as we continue Simin Lamed Beis, and today we're going to be learning Sif Lamed Ches and the beginning of Sif Lamed Tes. And we begin Sif Lamed Ches, in which the Mechaber teaches us. And now we're in the middle of discussing the batim, the houses literally of the Tefilin. We finished discussing the parshiyos. Now we go into the Tefilin themselves. So says the Mechaber, Arba batim, you should make the four houses me'ar echad, from one piece of hide l'shel roish. And of course, this doesn't mean four individual boxes. I mean, it does, but it means that you have four boxes which are going to be almost, I'm envisioning, four pizza boxes. And if you put the four pizza boxes together, you have one square. So similarly, in a much scaled down fashion, you have four rectangular boxes that are going to be pushed together into your shel roish. Continues the Mechaber, Ubayis Echel Shalyat, and this goes back to that which we learned the other days, that the Shalyat is one house with one hole in the middle for the one klaf of the Shalyat that has the four parshiyos on it, and the shel roish is comprised of four different batim. So continues the Mechaber, says the Mishnah Berurah, Me'ar echad v'chatichos ar tfurim yachad, and these four pieces are sewn together. Continues the Mishnah Berurah. No, 1 second. We're in the middle of a line over here. Yes, the Furim Yachad. Continues the Mishnah Berurah. Mitzadeda Pri Megadim the Chashuvim Kar Echad. Says the Pri Megadim that he sides with the idea that they're all considered one piece of leather. And so too, I read it incorrectly. Excuse me. Let me correct myself. It doesn't mean that you have to sew them together. It means if you have pieces of hide in which you sew together, says the Magen Avram, that they're all considered one piece of hide. And similarly, it's written B'Tshuvas Chasam Sefer, in the Tshuva of the Chasam Sefer Chaim Semenei, Sheish Lako B'Tfurais, that we can be making in such a scenario. V'Ima Yarak Devukois B'Davek. If you have multiple pieces of leather that are not sewn together, but rather they're pieced together, then we're learning that one should be machmir. Avol, continues the Mishnah Berurah, and of course we know that the word avol in Mishnah Berurah introduces the psak halacha. Says the Mishnah Berurah, avol b'chayi yodam mashma tu adim meim devukus bedavek. And the same thing is going to be if they're glued with glue. And such is the minhag. However, you should make it from one piece of material, one piece of hide. Why? Because we've seen that there are those who hold that it does not work if it's glued together. That was the Chasam Sefer that said if it's glued, it does not work. And similarly, even if they're sewn together, the Mishnah Berurah quoted that the Magen Avram says it's okay. But there are others that are machmir. So the chatchila, it's best to make it from one literal piece. We need the four batim separated one from the other, and they should not be glued together. Now this is a very important detail in which many times Seifrim err, and this is one of the big problems with Tefilin, that when you have your Tefilin Shal Roish made of four different batim, the Chayyim is teaching us that they should be separate pieces. They should not be glued together. And continues the Mishnah Berurah, and we know that when the Mishnah Berurah is talking extremes, we know that he's coming to counteract what unfortunately is being done. And not like the Seifrim do, Shemedavkin al Yedei, Devek, that what do? They glue it together with glue. Rak Shalom Yasa Simanim, they glue it together, but if you glue it together, it looks like four different pieces. It looks like one piece, So what they do is they edge on top as if Kamay Charitz Ba'alma, like a little ditch, in order to give the appearance as if it's not glued. You should not do it. Why? It's not clear if that works even with the Evid. Says Mishnah Berurah. If we consider glue makes it into one piece, then of course it's a problem. Because then because then your tefillin shel roish is not four separate batim, it's one bayis. And inside this one bayis, what do you have? You have four different mechitzas, which is a problem. And if you're going to learn that the glue does not make it like it was one piece, and therefore it's considered four houses with four ditches, because gluing it as if it's separate. The tefillin themselves is made out of different pieces, and that is a problem. Apologies on the highlighting, we're trying to get this up over here, but continues Mishnah Berurah be'emes. Toivu, what is good? Shafilu oisin mi'ar echad mamish yet fileihem perudais. Even if it's one piece, make it separate pieces. The shema adiba chibar, because maybe glue is considered connected. And so to the tefillin of the guy who was separated. And look at the Ber Halacha. So we're looking now is that what should you do? What you should do is you should ensure that they do not use glue. So for those who are wondering if they don't use glue, how do they make these four pieces of leather? It's called pressure. And when they take these four pieces of leather and they squeeze it together really, really tight, what that is going to do, that is going to make them into separate pieces. Continues the Mechaber, Sif 38-39a. Tefilin, when it comes to tefillin, bein shel rosh, bein shel yad, halach l'moshe min Sinai, she'em merubois b'tifron u'b'lachzoin. Very important. The halachas, every halach is important. But says the Mechaber over here, both your tefillin shel rat and your tefillin shel rosh, you have to be super careful that they are perfectly square, and in the diagonal they're perfectly square. Dahainu, sheyu ribuan mechuvan, it should be an exact square, arkai kerach, with the length like the width, kedei she'elem oirich oisei alachzus, that it can make a diagonal if you would go from corner to corner. Sha'amru chazal, call amsa miruba amsa tricham shabalach sayna. Those who learn Tafiyim learn this in Gemara and Sukkah, Psachim, that every amma should be 1 2/5 amma in the diagonal. So important in detail, says that the Mishnah Berurah, what you have to do is you have to ensure that they're perfectly square. And of course, the way to do this is you take your tefillin and you look at the bottom, and you see the sewings on the bottom of your tefillin that makes it into a square, to make sure that they form a perfect right angle, and as well at a diagonal across from corner to corner. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Kof Ayin Gimel, Shem Merubais. V'm lo yasa merubais. He said, if you don't make it square, ma'akiv b'di'evet, extreme, even if it's already done, it's got to be puzzle. When we call makayin and ein loy tefillin achev, you don't need a tefillin. Yanich leizat b'lei bracha, put on that a bracha. She's dami loy tefillin achev and yichayin b'aralach, which of course is a bit of an interesting level. It doesn't even work b'di'evet. Why are you putting them on? It sounds like it's some level. At least you're not being mevatel the mitzvahs of tefillin and ayin the b'aralach. Shem Merubah and Kof Ayin Dalet says Mishnah Berurah shalat tefirah, the sewings on the bottom should be perfectly square. V'nir li pashet tzarich liyas atfiras merubah, that the sewings stitches should be square. Bein lamala bein lamata. V'avtal ibrir li linim di'evid. Says Mishnah Berurah, I'm not sure. B'di'evid, interesting. He's not clear. Mikol magal lechatchil v'adi yishizar bazeh. K'dei sheyu pirush merubah gamor should be complete square. Sha'arka karach, with a length like the width, mamish, exactly. Shi'aru chacham kol ashir she'ish le'yishba al-chzan beis ha'chamishin noisev alois ashir, that if you want to figure out the perfect square, the diagonal is going to be 2/5 of a side. But gam kan sarich shi'u meruba mamish has to be perfectly square. Av olim le'yaberuba mamish, let's say it's not. Le'yabalachsa sh'lo b'shirach beis chomshin, then the diagonal will not be 2/5 more. Teizav is al shirach el Valkate. Yimdinenu ba'arba kavin, you should measure the 4 lines, the yidai mumraba, to know if it's square. Dahainu, tchila yimdai kav echad, you measure 1 line, ba'irach. Kav echad roichav 1 line in the width, sheyar shavet should be equal. Ach, shema v'emsai shavet b'istadai misma 8. Maybe in the middle will be equal and the sides will shrink. L'chein yimdinenu oid v'shtei gam v'lach, so if you measure the diagonal, sheyashavim shtei gam v'lach, say gam kin, so that should as well be equal. And that is the halacha of the bottom of your tefillin. Everyone can look at their own tefillin, ensuring that they are perfectly squares with a diagonal. We'll pick it up from the rest of the sif for the next year. B'siyata d'shmai.